All right, we're here. We're live. We're back. It's Tuesday again. Every Tuesday and Thursday we go live. We chat with somebody from around the country. Today I'm hoping to be joined by my friend Lacy down in Houston, who's been opening a bar through the middle of this whole crazy thing. So hopefully Lacy's going to hop on and join us here in a minute. We might even get a peek behind the curtain. We might get to travel to Houston where they've tentatively started to open things back up. Lacy, here, in the room. Lacy and I met at a tree planting party we did in Portland this past autumn, past fall. With,
hey, buddy.
what's going on?
How you been?
Good.
Everybody still doing okay up there?
Everybody's still here. Dogs are about to go for a walk. It's 4 o'clock out here in Seattle on the West Coast. How you doing down there?
Here.
6 o'clock?
6 o'clock here. Sun's still out, though.
Sun's high. Are you guys open?
We are not open. We are in the process of opening. It's been a real baptism by fire trying to open a bar. Opening a bar is a difficult challenge already. And then you add on top of like a quarantine and you have some compounding issues with things not getting shipped in or shipping getting delayed. And it's not like, little things. It's big things that are getting delayed. And so we're kind of having to be as flexible as possible and try to be as understanding as possible that it's going to take a little extra time for it to happen.
Yeah, it's wild. I know that.
Yeah, and the staff has been incredible and really understanding and really present. And it's been deeply appreciated by me that they're showing up and they're wanting to help and they want to get back to work as much as any of us, really.
So, hi, Lacy. How are
Hi.
you?
Good.
Let's zoom out a little bit. Where are you in the world right now?
So right now we're actually standing at my front doors. So these are our front doors to my building. I'll flip you around for a minute and you can wave to some of my guys taking a break. So say hi. That's Marla and Matt. And this is our contractor, Mickey. There he goes. And we got Jonathan over here. He's putting some furniture together. But we're right here on a pretty busy street here in Montrose. We get a lot of foot traffic, and those are our lovely neighbors, Rudyard's British Pub. Very good friends. But are you guys ready to go inside?
Go inside. Let's do it.
Yeah,
You're at the bar.
We are at the
You're
bar.
in Houston, at the bar. Boom.
Okay, so here we go. Obviously, we've still got some construction going on, but this is our back bar.
Love it.
All that construction was done by a fabricator here in Houston named Eric Rosbrom. He's got a company called Object Fab. And he does really, really unique, beautiful work. So he built all of that for us. And then we've got over here is our beautiful banquette seating. So a lot of our concept is based on like the use of light and how that can kind of affect a space. But this is really cool right here. This is one of my favorite parts. So this is our table. And now it is a bigger table.
Boom. We're on the banquette. You've got lights. You get crazy things going on. The whole table slides.
Whole table slides. So you can actually connect it all the way down to create like a much larger dining space. So if we have like a big party come in, or if we've got somebody coming in who's celebrating a birthday, anniversary, whatever, we can set them up. And then we also have over here, and this is one of my favorite pieces over here. This is what I call our little cool corner.
What do you say, the cool corner?
Yeah, it's the cool corner.
And it looks like an equalizer or something.
Kinda, yeah. But so we've got seating that's getting made for all of this. That's going to actually match our beautiful chairs and bar stool. So it'll be that quilted vinyl. I'm very excited about this. But it's a really cool little seating area that we constructed that you could kind of envelop yourself in that little corner. And so you have all these beautiful lights kind of changing all around you. And you can kind of hang out over here with your friends, and we'll have like granite topping on the arms and in the center, so you have a little space for your drinks. We've got a table in the center so you can have food, because we are going to have food too, which is super exciting.
Does any of that stuff, do any of the lights actually sync up with the music?
We've discussed it, and that programming is possible, but also very complicated apparently. And back here, so we have one more room to look at. And it's under construction, but the guys are doing a great job and coming along with it beautifully. We're going to start by looking at it on the front. So this is our game that we've built for the bar. So one of our concepts that is really important to me is being integrated with our community and like being involved with like helping them out. So we're actually going to use a portion of the proceeds we make at the bar to donate back to a local charity called the Montrose Center. And the Montrose Center here in town offers a lot of services, medical, mental health. They help with Medicare. They also, are very much so a big part of the LGBTQ community here and offer a lot of support to them. And so they're our neighbors, and we really want to make sure that we're helping our neighbors. But so this is our Plinko board. Did you ever watch Price is Right?
Oh yeah, of course.
Okay. It's a Plinko board in my bar.
I'm old enough to have been in the Bob Barker days. Actually,
All
I
right.
I lost $20 a few years ago because I bet somebody that Bob Barker had passed, and he hasn't. He's still kicking.
No, he hasn't. He's still around.
So best $20 I ever lost.
Because it was the greatest news of your life at that point.
I know. I was like happy to have lost it. Glad he was still with us.
Happy to do
I want
it.
to shout out the Boer Malt collector who's here in Miami drinking EHT single barrel tonight. Sounds like a luxurious. So cheers on finishing your Noble Oak bottle yesterday. Every bottle plants a tree, so let's get another tree going.
So the more you drink, the more they grow. Yeah. All right, so check out.
Drinking for a cause is very central to us. So
which I knew Noble Oak would like that a lot. And also I was like, we could double down. If we have Noble Oak here, we'll plant trees and also support a local charity. This is great. Let's do that. All right, so here's my Plinko board. It is rad.
Was it lit? I don't think it was lit up when I saw it last week. That's wild.
No.
Do you have one?
So
do you have
we do.
what do you call those things?
Hold on, let me see if I can get a token. Hey, Julian, can we drop a token through? Okay. Julian's one of the fabricators for this piece. They're with an art collective called Moon Papas here in Houston, and a lot of their work is based on like these beautiful clean angles, use of light and technology. And so that's Julian.
Well, there we go.
Yep. Good job, Julian.
You got to zoom in. Where did it land?
Hold on. Julian, can you grab me one of the tokens so I can show it to him? All right, here. This is one of the tokens. It's super cool.
Where did it win? Was that a win?
It was a winner. So, and that's our little insignia that we have for the bar. So it's 6's and 7's. And the little logo that we've got is really cool. We're going to be putting that on the front door, and all of the tokens are going to have those on there. And it's just a really fun space. And it was absolutely a labor of love. We've been working on this basically since November last year. Yeah.
Do you have time to are you set up to make a drink there? Can you make a drink right now?
I can. Yeah. Absolutely.
We breaking the rules if we...
No. It's my bar, my rules. That's the best part about it.
Can we make a drink?
Yeah, absolutely. I am getting... What were you wanting to do?
I don't know, something in like the Boulevardier realm. I got some stuff over here, but usually I just follow whatever you make. So, but we'll make a drink together. So I always like.
Yeah, we can do a 1-to-1. All right, I'm gonna set you down here for a minute, see if I can get you balanced.
Get what you gotta get.
Yeah. Let's see. There we go. All right, so you're gonna be doing a Boulevardier?
I'm going to go in the Boulevardier direction. I also
Okay.
heard, for those of you who are tuning in from Seattle, get your Campari in while you can because it might be on short supply. A little
Well, we
birdie's
do.
so get that
We
in.
have we have a ton of Campari here, so
Yeah, just
we
send
mass
Lisa
ordered
a
it.
message, follow her on Instagram, send her a message, tell her to send you a bottle
I'll
of Campari.
package it beautifully. I promise. Let's see. What am I gonna make? I'm trying to make up my mind because I've got all these fun things that we've been playing with. I think what I want to make for you is off of our experimental cocktail list.
Do it. Let's get wild.
Alrighty. Give me 1 second. Hey Jay, can you go grab me some ice real quick?
We're gonna do it without ice here. Sorry, I'm breaking all the rules right now.
Oh, you're good. You're good. You're good. You're good. So it's also kind of a challenge because like we don't have any of our glassware yet because that also got delayed in transit.
Oh yeah, so you guys are waiting on like some freight or something. You had
Yeah.
thought that it would be
Yeah.
today, but there's a truck somewhere that's
There's a truck out there somewhere in the universe that has our stuff in it.
good because it's just like running a bar every day, right?
Oh yeah.
You know,
I mean it's just well, and I don't know if you're familiar with the phrase itself, sixes and sevens, but it's actually in reference to things being a state of chaos or disarray. So I mean, like I don't know what could be more fitting than what we're having to kind of cope with than
yeah,
having a name that's based on the concept of chaos.
the stars have aligned in that way.
I know, I'm telling you. I also feel like we kind of like challenged the universe a little bit and we're like, oh yeah, we're going to name our bar after chaos. And the universe just said, oh really? That's cute.
So yeah, you've been working on this thing since November,
Mm-hmm.
and even in the middle of chaos, you've still
Yeah.
been pushing forward. You didn't, so that the open date didn't quite work out the way that you thought it might. But what
It
is it
didn't, but
in general?
say that again. I'm sorry, you broke up.
What is it? What has life been like just the last few months? Like trying to open a bar, not just like reopen. So now we're at a
But
point
open
where
a bar, yeah.
things are
It's
reopened and you're opening.
Yeah. It's always unique, like the process of opening a bar. And I've opened a bar before, not one that's within my own ownership, but one like conceptually and helped put the program together and things of that nature. But this was definitely the first time I've done it, like from the bones up to like putting a face on it, like building it from scratch. And I mean, you had the challenges that were normal of just like getting stuff constructed on time, making sure you're, abiding by the law. And then when the quarantine happened, it was honestly a bit of a break. I feel like we would have been able to get the bar completed by our original open date, but it was really nice to be able to like take a step, take a breath, and like really evaluate what we were doing in a very careful and purposeful way to really make sure that we were doing it correctly. And having that respite to like approach it that way has been really a blessing, genuinely. And we could wring our hands and be really upset about the fact that we weren't able to open on time and weren't able to start generating that income. The only reason I was really disappointed with it was that meant that the people that were coming to work for me had to wait.
Yeah.
And that was my primary concern, was like, are they going to be okay? And are, they going to still be able to come work here when this is all over? And we've had a few pop in and fall off, but like overall, like the team that we've put together is really incredible. And like I said, like they're showing up now because like they believe in the project and they really want to see it do well. And like, makes me really proud. It makes me really proud that they believe in what we're doing.
Yeah, and there's been quite a bit of good news in the last 24 hours. At least a lot of reasons to be optimistic. There's still a long way to go. There's still a lot of uncertainty, but
There
at
is.
least
There is.
because we've got some big headlines that seem, it seemed like there might be a light at the end of the tunnel. So
Yeah.
that's good.
And like the fact that like everyone really seems to be pulling together on that point that, they really want to like see the business get back up and people really want to see life go back to normal.
Yeah, I mean, if people want to come hang out at the bar, I'm sure.
All right.
Just a matter
Everyone's
when-
tired of hanging out at home.
When can we do it? When can we do it? Make sure everybody's safe and
Yeah,
everything's
well,
all.
and that's a big part for us too. So when we open, which we are plotting that for Friday.
So
So
still this week.
this
So lined up.
this Friday will be our first day of business. We're gonna do like soft open hours, so just like a 3 hour open where like people can come in. We're going to be doing a very, very limited amount of capacity too, just because we want people to be able to come in and feel comfortable and safe, and also know that we are taking those social distancing guidelines very seriously, and understand that like in order for us to get to the point where we can all be packed into a bar again, we got to stay apart just for a little bit longer.
And what's the word in Texas? Do you have requirements, capacity requirements, or
We
face?
do. Our governor actually made a big announcement yesterday. He got on TV and basically explained that bars will be allowed to be open at 25% capacity, which is what restaurants have been open at for the past week. And with that, they're asking people to maintain a 6 foot distance between tables and, respect social distancing. They suggest that people wear face masks, but in Texas, they're not requiring that. But like, we're just asking that people just be as safe as possible. We'll have a sanitizing station directly inside the door as soon as you come in. So that way, like, you can make sure you're clean. We'll be sanitizing tables after every turn. We'll be sanitizing the chairs. We'll be sanitizing everything that you've touched, just to make sure that the next person that comes in is safe.
Okay.
So it's going to be a lot of towels, a lot of bar towels we're going through.
It's gonna be definitely the cleaning supply industry is
Right?
doing
It is a boon to be selling bar towels right now.
but a lot of folks on our end of things, distilleries that have pivoted to, not
Making hand sanitizer. We've got a distillery here in town that's doing it, and they've been incredible. They have actually employed a lot of bartenders that are out of work, just to help them out, and they've been supplying hand sanitizer all across the city. I mean, like, absolutely incredible. Really, really incredible to see like everyone chipping in that way.
all right, let's make a drink. Let's have a
All
drink.
right.
It's time. What do you got? What are you making?
So what I'm making is called a Galveston Bay, spelled B-A-E. I don't know. Have you ever made it down here to Texas, Tom?
I've been to Houston once. I visit Austin pretty regularly.
So Galveston Bay is the closest thing we've got to a beach down here. I love it. It definitely is a temperamental beach. So because we are definitely an oil and gas area, there is a lot of extra bits in the water down in Galveston, which sometimes turns it a very bizarre color. And so it's our beach and we love it. And it's a place where you can go down and be near the ocean. And I'm originally from Florida, and so being near the ocean is like a huge part of my life. And I like being able to just drive down and smell that salt water. But as a loving tribute to Galveston, I have made a Galveston Beach Hued Scotch drink with Famous Grouse Smoky Black.
Oh, lovely.
And
In the family.
yeah. See, I thought about this. And it really is, it's a beautiful cocktail with a little bit of smoke and lots of tropical tones because we are talking about a beach. And it also has one of my favorite liqueurs in it, which is creme de banane.
Oh yeah, the banana.
Yeah.
That's that stuff that tastes like banana bread too.
It does. It's so good. And this is my fun little jigger. I bought it like an antique store 1,000 years ago that I love.
Oh, that thing rules.
Dude, it's got a bottle opener at the end. And I mean, also, if somebody reaches across your bar into your like fruit tray, they'll remember not doing it again.
Man, you got the gavel right there.
I got a gavel. So one of the things that I love about Houston is like how diverse and spread out like our city is because it's able to fit in so many people and so many different types of food and so many types of drink. And a large part of our community is actually the Asian community, and you've got, you know, people from all sorts of lineage here. And there's, so that with that, there's all sorts of like really cool food and really cool flavor. And there's a little, it's not little, it's huge. There's a grocery store here called Ranch 99, which I know a lot of people, if you're from Houston and you're watching this, like, you know this place. You can go there and you can get the most beautiful ingredients that are just like things you've never heard of, things you've never tried. And one of the things I picked up from there was this awesome pineapple vinegar.
Get a pineapple vinegar.
Pineapple vinegar. So that's going in there as well. And it adds like this really cool element, especially with the famous grouse scotch, that smoky black. And we're just going to give this a good little shake. My ice machine hasn't come in either, so I don't have my normal ice today.
Yeah, what are you using? What's your workaround? You just have some granny cubes in the freezer?
Yeah.
Heck yeah. And that's what you've been experimenting with?
Yeah, well, and I brought some ice from home because I've got like the big cube trays, but like there's only so much space in my freezer at this point.
That's fun though. It keeps it so human.
It is, and it makes it real because you're really having to think on the fly about how can I achieve this with like, you know, not the stuff I'm used to having. And so what you end up getting is like, I am not going to say that this is a beautiful color because this is in tribute to the Galveston water, like the Galveston Beach water. But you end up getting this.
Cheers.
Yeah. Cheers, bud.
Nice to share a drink.
I know. It's been a while, huh? All right, we're going to go put it on a table. Because this place is all about light. So this is one of the things I love is like I'll make a drink and my my favorite thing to do is to see how it looks on the table. And it looks pretty cool.
You're going to take it over to the magic table?
Here it is, sitting and hanging out. Look at that color change. I love it. Woo! Yeah.
This is where I go do the. Oh my goodness.
I know, it looks so cool.
That's fun.
But then you get to just sit right here and enjoy your drink and watch the colors change. It's lovely.
Yeah, so I don't know how much of a time crunch you're on, but
Not really.
one thing that I really like what you guys got going on there, and the thing that really jumps out at me. So usually what we do is like have a drink, we sip, we talk shop a little bit. I like to just dive into people's stories because I don't know, like how you got from Florida to Houston, how you got into bartending, how you got into craft, and now how you've got, you know, your own place.
I know, it's bananas.
So there's a lot to unpack there, but before we start to dive into some of that, what I really wanted to know about is like, you know, the last couple times we've talked, you're so community oriented, and that's something that I think a lot about. So I don't know, jump in there. Tell us about your community and why that's such a passion for you and like how that kind of integrates into everything that you're up to.
Well, and I mean, a lot of that does have to do with the community I was raised in. And I was very much so involved in the church growing up. And I know that can kind of be a bit of a sticking point for some people. And I do realize that there's a lot of really, really crappy church people out there. And I've met them. But it did, the way my parents raised me, though, was slightly different. Like, my parents raised me believing in evolution. You know, like, they thought it was bananas that Christians were, you know, in an uproar over evolution. They thought it was very silly. So they were very much so reasonable and, you know, very much so based in, like, being secular, but also making sure that my brother and I were raised with the principles and ideology of our faith to be community responsible and realize it was a part of who we are to take care of our neighbors and be a part of who we are to care for the lives of others, and to not be mean or vindictive, and to always make sure that what you do is going to be to the benefit of not only yourself but to others.
So is that kind of like part of the mentality that got you into hospitality? Is this kind of like, let's say you are your brother's keeper type of
Yeah.
philosophy? It's been kind of your red thread in your adult life.
I would say more of it being a keeper as it is being a reflection. And if the way I treat people reflects to them that I love them, then I'm doing something correctly. And that can mean a lot of things. You know, it's not necessarily, you know, there was the book that came out years ago, The 5 Love Languages, where everyone has a different language that they express love through. And that one impacted me quite a bit because I realized that the way I communicated love and care to a person was not necessarily how they would communicate it back. But I did realize that one of the ones I have is I love to listen to people, which is great behind a bar. But I also love to be in service to others and make sure that they're being cared for. And it's a responsibility you have to take very seriously, because especially being a bar owner, you're no longer responsible for just your tips at the end of the night. You're responsible for the livelihood of several people.
Yes, I mean, especially now. But
Mm-hmm.
let's take that and go back in time then. What was your first hospitality gig? What got you into the world of
I
bars and
got
restaurants?
I got into this completely by accident.
Well, I mean, we all did.
Mine was I was working in oil and gas as a seismic tech. So I worked out in the field.
That requires a degree or something. You had to.
Oh
What is
no,
that like?
no! I that was another job that I just happened to get, and I'm still not really sure how. But essentially, like, my job was to go out in the field and plant these geophones out in the middle of nowhere in Pennsylvania, and collect the data and make sure that they were working correctly. And then while I was on that job, I was learning how to read that data, which does typically require a degree, but they were starting to kind of train me to do it anyway, which was great. I loved it. I found it endlessly fascinating. I thought it was really just a really, really small portion of like what that field was about, but I genuinely enjoyed it. And that was right before the oil crash in 2008. And
Okay.
I had
So that
it was a great job. I really enjoyed it. And when that all happened, I had been hired by a company that was very unique in the fact that they hired women in that field. There weren't a lot of women in that field at the time. Still, there really still aren't that many. So it was very difficult for me to try to find another position to do the same thing. And my roommate at the time was working in a little bar in Houston called La Carafe, which is the oldest commercial building in Houston. They only do beer and wine. It's probably, if not definitely, haunted. But it's a really cool old little place. And he was working there, and he said, listen, the lady that owns this is very nice. She needs a daytime bartender at her other bar. Do you want to go talk to her? And he goes, but you got to tell her that you bartended. And I was like, well, I've never bartended in my life. So I went in and chatted with her, and like, I lied about being like serving shots at a bar that I went to in college, which I never did. I'm sure I carried shots from the bar to the table. So I guess you could technically call that cocktailing. But I had never worked a day behind the bar, and I think she knew that anyway, but she gave me a job, and it was a place called Warren's, and I fell in love with hospitality at that job. And I fell in love with the craft of it. I fell in love with the stories that I would hear. I fell in love with the connection people would have socially from the spirit, like that they were drinking, to like the spirit of the bar, and to like how they would relate to the people around them. And it really became a passion after that.
can you? I think we're losing your internet connection a little bit. Can you take a
Uh-oh.
walk behind the bar?
Yeah.
Strongest.
Let's see if I can get out that.
Mark, how you doing, bud? Welcome. This is Mark. Mark, it's a reunion. We got a whole reunion.
Ah,
One that I planted trees with gets to
Mark,
come
how you doing, buddy?
on Instagram.
Instagram friends. Oh, and my buddy Rich. Hi, Rich. My buddy Rich is on. Hi, buddy. So Rich is an awesome guy. He's here in Houston. I met him at Johnny's Gold Brick down here, which is a
Oh yeah,
fantastic team. Like, I love Rich. And he's also my neighbor, which is great.
JGB Rich, how you doing? Welcome. Um, so yeah, how did you get from Pennsylvania to Houston?
Pennsylvania was really just like that was the job, so I was only out there for about 6 months.
Oh, it was
But
like
I,
a
yeah.
thing, and you were still living in Houston.
Mm-hmm. I'd given up my apartment and sold my truck and moved what belongings I did have into my parents' house because I didn't know when I was going to be back. And then, 6 months later, I was like, so I don't have a job anymore, but my stuff is already
And
here.
then
So that's good.
poof, it was gone, and you're back home, and you're
Yep.
behind the bar.
Yep. And I never left, really. Like, there were a few moments, as I'm sure we all have had, working in this industry that where we've been like, oh, is this really what I want to do? And you have to kind of make a decision at that point about what portion you want to keep and what portion you want to toss, because there are portions that as a bar owner and as somebody who is going to be taking care of like the nuts and bolts of the place, like there's some stuff you have to give up. Like there's not going to be the random nights that I'm just like, hey, let's just go out drinking. Like it's time to kind of do the grown-up version of hospitality and be sure that I'm responsible because there are other people relying on me to make sure things get done.
So you threw out a number then. It was like the 2008, 2009. So you've been in
Mm-hmm.
hospitality over a decade, and
Yeah.
now
Ooh.
you're about
Yeah.
open a place with your name on
Mm-hmm.
it, more or less. So
Yeah.
what's
And I've
tell me
been
about
I've been really lucky with my partners too. My partners and I, we really seem to gel well together, and that is a tremendous blessing.
So yeah, tell us a bit about that journey. Just like what going from daytime bartender, never bartended before. Did you like? It sounds like you already had a basis for it. Just mentally, spiritually, you were ready to
Yeah.
give. You were ready to dole out hospitality, to connect with people, to listen.
Hmm.
But what got you, I guess, from daytime into craft
Into
or
craft.
craft or what?
So I can tell you exactly what got me into craft. It was a wonderful woman by the name of Verona Baker, who I met through a dear friend. And she and I just kind of instantly hit it off. We both loved like mid-century modern stuff, and we loved to make like classy cocktails, and we loved to do dinners together at her house. And when she was living here in Houston, she had this beautiful, beautiful mid-century modern home. And so once a month we would get together and we would show up, and she would have made dinner, and we would both show up with an old cocktail recipe and the stuff to
An
make
old
it.
one.
And yeah, because I mean, like this was like right at the start of my career. And I mean, like, what was it? I'll never forget one of my old guys, one of my old daytimers, Willie, came in. I mean, this is how green I was. He came in and he asked for his regular drink, which he had been drinking for like 30 years at this point. He asked for a J&B. And so I poured him a Jim Beam. And because I mean, I didn't know the difference, and I had no idea, and I didn't want to show my hand and be like, I have no idea what you're talking about. So I just acted like I knew what I was doing and just fibbed my way through it, because he was just like, I wanted a J&B, and I was like, yeah, JB, yeah, that's what I called it, yeah. That was not true. I just had no idea what I was doing. But those guys definitely gave me a little bit, or quite a bit of an education, because They were all in their 60s and 70s and had been coming to this bar for 30 years. And these were their friends, and this is what they did every day. And they would kind of walk me through a lot of these cocktails, and like they really taught me a lot. Like my patrons are the ones that really taught me, which I always thought was really beautiful.
So you were like watching Mad Men on TV or something, and you were like, 'cause that was like round about when Mad Men was popping off too.
I was never at work that late because I got off at like 6 o'clock because I was there at 10 a.m. because the bar opened at 11 and I left at 6. There was a lot of Turner Classic Movies on for sure. But I don't know. I don't think Mad Men was ever on. I remember like it was really big right around then when I first started bartending. And so you had like a lot of people coming in, even to my like tiny little bar, asking for an old fashioned, asking for a Manhattan. And while I love my bar, it was not a craft cocktail bar. Like if we needed simple syrup, we put sugar in a glass and went to the coffee maker and got hot water on it.
Oh,
like,
nice.
This was like we muddled our cherry and the orange in our old fashioned, and that's the way they had done it for ages. And there was something about their style that I really deeply appreciated, that it was unapologetic for exactly what it was.
Yeah,
and
this is the you get here, and you ordered it. And
yeah. Like this was the bar where if you walked in and you ordered a double, we would just stare at you because we were like, we don't do that. Also because like a whiskey was like this big.
Yeah, you don't need a double.
You don't need a double. I promise.
You're getting plenty of fingers with
Yeah.
this. You don't need twice that many fingers.
Well, and I mean like these young guys, because there's a lot of law firms downtown, they would come in and you could tell they were like fresh out of law school and they were like looking to like look real cool. And so they'd order like a scotch or something and be like, make it a double. I'd be like, baby, I'm going to pour you a single. And if you have a complaint, I will buy it for you.
Fantastic. Was there something that was going on in like the culture that you were like, because it's just so interesting. I don't know a lot of folks who are like doing the daytime gig and then like doing recipes and like compelled to learn recipes and stuff at home parties, or like going and doing like the social gatherings after work to like get into the craft. So that's a new way in.
It was, and a lot of it was just curiosity more than anything, because it was something I didn't know and something I didn't understand. And you know, bars like Anvil, when they first came around, was like right before I started like getting into this as a career. And it's been really fascinating to watch how that evolution has changed for me as well, because I was definitely on the train. I worked in like a bar. We never pretended to be anything but a bar. And, you know, so I had my grumble about, you know, the term mixologist and like craft cocktail bars. And when you moved past the fact that it was, you know, a name and a title, what these guys were doing was really fun and really, really cool and really interesting. And if you actually, you know, took a chance and talked to them, you could really learn some really, really awesome stuff.
So it never felt like pretentiousing you or like...
No, and I mean, like, I always crack a joke, like, with customers and such. They're like, oh, you're a mixologist. And my joke is always like, I don't have the mustache for it, you know? And it's been...
That's what where do we net out with that now? Because I know that
I have no idea. I don't know what the industry consensus is on that.
No, I mean even just you now where you're at, you know, opening this place, you're doing what would once have been called craft cocktails. I'm sure that like there's so many other parts of your identity, the lights, the fun. Like it's obviously feels like you're thinking about fun, you're thinking about community. But I don't know. I haven't been that dialed into where people are at with the mixologist term.
Yeah, I mean, like, I am, I guess. I've always felt far more comfortable with the term bartender, because I feel like that's really what my job is. The craft and the whole like science behind it, and like the syrups and the tinctures and the infusions and the whatevers, that's all secondary to what we actually do for me. Like, obviously, it's a very important part of what we offer to people. But when they're sitting in front of you, like, you can have the most incredible list, you can have the most amazing cocktails, but if your service is not there, people don't want to stay. Like, you have to make them feel like they're wanted here and they have a place to be.
Yeah, I love that. Was there a moment at which you like thought to yourself, "This is what I want to do. I'm going to own a bar one day"? Or was that like last week or like?
Yeah, was it like 4 hours ago? I'm very much a believer in you can make as many decisions in your life as you want, and we absolutely all have free will to choose what we want. But I believe that the universe sometimes has a plan in store, and if we don't put our faith in it from time to time, we're going to end up missing out on some really incredible opportunities. And so I was at a bar and I really enjoyed it. I loved the location. I loved my patrons. I loved my bosses. I loved my coworkers. I was realizing that the space it was needing to be was not something I wanted to do anymore. And it really needed to become much more neighborhood, a little bit more down-home bar. And I really did want to have more of like a cocktail program. And it was a very difficult decision for me to leave. The bar was called the Pink Elephant Room here in Houston, owned by Sam and Robert, and absolutely love those guys. They were very gracious and very, very kind. And I kind of just took a leap of faith and decided, you know what? I know this isn't the right place for me, and I just need to take a chance and I will figure it out. And so I just kind of stepped off that cliff in faith that something would happen. I didn't know what. And so the day that I went in and put my notice in, I got a phone call about 4 hours later from my partner here, Anthony, and he said, "Hey, I need to talk to you." And I showed up, and about an hour later, they were offering me my own bar.
It sounds like are you a big believer in like kismet and fate?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know if it's the way that you're telling these stories or like if this is just things that happened in your life where you're like you were drawn to these moments, but it's like, man, I'm sitting here like believing, I'm like, something's gonna happen and it's gonna be the next thing, and like the skies are gonna open up because it's you just kind of stumbled into bartending kind of as a matter of happenstance, and then to bar ownership, kind of the next chapter.
I mean, it's been an incredible journey, and there's been a tremendous amount of people that have helped me there along the way and really supported me. And Houston has absolutely been an incredible place to grow as a bartender, and not just for me, but to watch other bartenders in our community grow into opportunities and grow into these wonderful roles, and really watch them become these incredible innovators and these incredible creators, and seeing what they also do for the community and how involved they are and how much they care about the people and our business and our industry it's really, really inspiring. It's a wonderful place to call home. I really love it.
So I want to sidetrack a little bit.
Okay.
Because I did visit Texas a little bit, and the last time I was there, I ran the Triangle. Because Texas is massive.
Oh, yeah. You did San Antonio, Austin, Houston?
I think most of us who are not Texanites or Texans.
I like Texanites. I'm going to use that one. Yeah,
that's a whole real thing. Forget that ever happened. I guess Houston has the Texans. Don't know that much about it. But tell me about the Triangle, like Dallas, Houston, Austin.
San Antonio.
Like,
Dallas, Houston, San Antonio. Oh, okay, that's a different triangle. There's several. There's a couple of them.
Austin, San Antonio are kind of like the same corridor. They're not too far apart.
Yeah.
But Dallas, Houston, Austin, is that like a rivalry? Are you guys like friendly? Is it like you guys lift each other up?
I mean, we're always friendly, but like we're always. I mean, it's also like when you get outside of Texas, what's the one thing a Texan wants to talk about? We want to talk about Texas.
Yeah. So like in Houston, you're like in the middle. You're on like the Gulf.
Yeah, we're definitely the like southern part of Texas. We're only an hour away from the coast here.
Yeah,
So
because you
like
get, the Galveston
the
Bay.
Galveston Bay. Yeah.
But
Um,
you wouldn't like side with like New Orleans over Austin because it's like Texas comes first.
now see, like
See, this is now we're gonna get you in some
you're gonna
hot.
get me in trouble. Like I think Austin is an absolutely beautiful city, and I have a lot of dear friends that live there and have lived there a very long time. It's not my city. I know it has a lot of merit, and like there's a lot of amazing bars there, and like the parks. Austin has got us beat on parks, like public parks. Yes, Austin blue ribbon all the way. They get it. Like their public parks are absolutely incredible. Ours are interesting. We have a few beautiful spaces. There is we have a lot of mosquitoes down here too. Like because most of our parks are running right by our bayous, and
Yeah.
so there's a lot of that. They've done a ton of work in the city to like build the parks out, and they've got some beautiful structures built. We've got a couple dog parks now, and they've done a lot with like making sure that they're focusing on outdoor space in Houston because for a long time it was just like, oh, it's a problem, pour some concrete over it and make it a parking lot. And they're kind of moving away from that. And I feel like between city to city, it's kind of like sibling rivalry, you know?
Yeah,
Like
I mean that's
we all want to be, dad's favorite, but none of us are willing to like give it up to the other one.
and I know that there's a lot of like friction, but it's kind of like playful friction, and you guys like
It is.
talk. You kind of poke fun at all the other cities, but I feel like if push came to shove, you'd be like, no, we're Texas.
Yeah, like
And you'd
if
be
like
the three
if
best cities.
Oklahoma was to try and like come for us somehow, we would definitely be banding together.
Yeah.
Which no offense to Oklahoma, I have family in Oklahoma, but I'm just saying maybe don't come for Texas.
Or whatever thing, like every city's a little bit dippy, like the West Coast.
Yeah.
Like Seattle, where I live now, is like always like, we never get enough attention. We're way up in the Northwest, but they kind of like are doing their own thing. So they're like
Yeah.
shitty about it, but never really going to get loud about it. New York, they're always like, we're the #1 city or whatever. And Chicago's like, we can't even be bothered. Like every city's got this kind of
Chicago's like, I gotta go to work later.
yeah, got this kind of like ego and personality. And I feel like
Yeah.
Texas, if push came to shove, whether it's Dallas, Houston, Austin, like they'd all be like, whoa, 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 whoa.
Mm-hmm.
You don't talk about my city like that. Even
Yeah.
I'm going to pick fun on Austin all day long, but I get to do that because I'm
Yeah.
from Texas.
Which I mean is very like sibling like rivalry to me. Where it's like at the end of the day, that we've all got each other's back, but we're also gonna make fun of you.
Yeah, you're like, New York, hold the phone. You don't
Yeah.
get to talk shit.
No,
on-
ma'am. No,
I
ma'am.
do. Yeah.
It's like you don't get to talk about my other city that way. That's not cool. But I mean, also being such a major city in like the country, like this city's huge.
Yeah, it is.
It's a massive city.
Number
There's
3, somewhere up there.
we're up there. I'm not gonna say I know exactly what number. If anyone who's watching knows what number like Houston is, I'd love to know. But it's
in the
ever
top.
evolving. It's in the top 5. Let's say top 5. It's always evolving. It's always changing, which sometimes people are a bit resistant to. Like people sometimes, don't like to see change come. And sometimes it can be difficult, but really at the end of the day, like a city's going to change exactly how it wants to. It's really difficult to stop that. And I think it's beautiful because we also can welcome a lot of different walks of life to that, which I mean includes people from all over the world live here. Like,
Yeah. I get a little book club that I read some like food and beverage books with. And we read Chef Ed Lee's kind of book about all of these hidden kind of food ethnicities that are pockets of different cultures in different cities that you wouldn't necessarily expect them. Like Seattle, there's a huge Scandinavian population. It's like you wouldn't know that if you weren't here in Seattle. And
Yeah.
Houston, I think, had a huge West African population. Like some of the best West African food in
Oh my
America.
gosh, some of the Ethiopian restaurants out here are absolutely incredible, incredible. There's an area of town too that I drive through from time to time, and they will have like spice markets and like grocery stores that are specifically for like ingredients in that cuisine, and oh my gosh, just some of the most incredible stuff I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah,
And
but
that's we get that
buttermilk
exposure to that. Buttermilk what?
buttermilk graffiti.
Buttermilk graffiti.
Yeah, if you want
Okay, I'm gonna have to look
some
that up.
of the Ethiopian restaurants in your own backyard, there's a chapter on it, and it was pretty cool.
I'm gonna have to find it because I actually, living in Houston, I've never heard of that restaurant, and so now I'm gonna have to go find that. Thank you.
Uh, no, that was the book name. I don't
Oh, that's
remember.
book name. That's book name. I
Yeah,
was like, I've never heard of this restaurant. I don't know it.
yeah. So we had 10 minutes, and then this thing's gonna kick us
Okay,
off. I
yeah.
want to get to the community piece because so just take us wherever you want to take us there because
Okay.
you talk about these artist collectives, people that you're being very intentional to work with, and that's what I want to hear about.
Yeah. Well, so one of the members of Moon Papas actually was a patron of mine at the first bar I ever worked at, and he was in college, and he was my favorite little weirdo college poet that would come in and keep me company and drink Manhattans with me in the afternoon. And I've stayed in touch with him over the years, and I actually did not select him for this job. My chef did. And he said, I've got this guy. He's great. You're going to love him. He's talking about working with light. And I know that you were talking about wanting to have light as a real primary focal point in the design of the bar. And he said, yeah. It's this guy, Matt Freeze. And I was like, I know him. And when we realized we were going to be able to work together, we were super excited about it. And like, it's been very fun to kind of like grow up with him and be able to work together and have a project that both of us can put our stamp on and be really, really proud of.
Yeah, and just how much the bar world shrinks our actual social world.
Just the world, like just going someplace and, especially being involved with things like Portland Cocktail Week, which is how I met you.
Yeah.
And a lot of other people from all over the country, some from all over the world, that I now have this like little community within a community within a community. And you have this connection with people. And it's really beautiful that it spans over time zones and, borders and all sorts of stuff. And we're all able to be connected, which I really find beautiful and really, really cool. Because like the more people you know, the more people you realize that you do genuinely have something in common with almost everyone that crosses your path. And, having that ability to connect with that is something that's really, really cool. Our carpenter, Eric Rossbrom, was actually a bartender himself for many, many years, and got into carpentry and woodwork and fabrication and has grown an incredible business out of it. And of course, like he was at the top of my list. He was the first person I called when I found out that I was getting my own bar. And I was like, I need you, and I need you to build me something beautiful. And he did. And, all these people I would have never met had I never worked in a bar. All these people I never would have gotten to know had I not worked in a bar. And I just love it. I think it's great. And having that involvement with my community and letting my community know that I'm not just here for my own edification and for like my own benefit. Like I really want to take something that is a business, but also is going to be something that is going to be community integrated and something that is going to help care for the community. I was actually really concerned when I selected Montrose Center. I've worked with them in the past for pop-ups, but also having them as a regular presence within the bar. They do a lot of work with like addiction dependency and a lot of those programs. And so I actually had a very long conversation with them going, we are a bar, but respectfully, I want to ask your permission to support you with our donations because I don't want it to be a trigger to anyone. And Kennedy over at the Montrose Center just kind of chuckled, and he goes, "Girls, it takes all types." And I was like, "Okay, all right, you're absolutely right. It does take all types." And if I can help support them, and if I can help support people in need that are like literally around the corner from me, there's no reason we shouldn't.
And you can build it into a thing that's fun, like Plinko.
Absolutely, and you can put it into a Plinko bar.
Put it into you get to play a game and do charity. And
you don't have to wait in line and get on, Price is Right with Drew Carey. Like, you can come play Plinko here anytime.
I love that. It's fantastic. So it's like, I think about that all the time. As a family, as a portfolio of spirits that does a lot of giving back, that is so oriented around charity, is like being mindful about that is definitely very important. It does take all types. And that's best practices. It's a good way. It's like, it can feel really small sometimes. We're like, it's just liquor. But even just in the world of liquor, you can always think to the next level. What can we do to help other people? What can we do to reach beyond ourselves? Seth, what's up, buddy? Welcome. So I know it's been a tough last few months. You've been very busy.
Yes.
But is there anything that you can highlight that's brought you joy? Is there a book, a movie, a music, a personal interaction, a thing that you've been able to do? Like, what's bringing you joy?
My garden.
That's it.
I love my garden. It is therapy through and through. I had to bring in a whole basket of jalapenos because my jalapeno bush is producing so much I can't eat them all.
You gotta start pickling.
I did. I made some for my dad, and he absolutely loved them. He can't wait until the next canning is like ready. But I mean, like, I really find joy in gardening. I have pets, and so like I love to be outside with them, but also like getting my hands in the dirt and like really being purposeful with like how I'm handling things, and making a long-term plan, because plants aren't like a meal you go by. You actually have to think about where you're putting them. Is that thing going to get enough sun? Is that thing going to be sustainable? And, I guess you could say that sort of practice has definitely reflected itself in how I present to a bar, because I do think about things being long-term and not just like, hey, let's turn a profit, and like, hey, let's make some money, and then like, screw if this lasts for a long time. Like, I really do want to build something that can be sustainable and, also be beneficial. And whether that's creating employment for others or creating a stream of like revenue that we can actually donate out to the Montrose Center here, you gotta think it the whole way through.
What are you planted? Do you got mostly veg?
I've got a lot of herbs. My mom is definitely the gardener. She gave me some cuttings of her angel trumpet about 2 months ago, and I soaked those, got them rooted, and they've started blooming, and they're doing gorgeous. But I've got jalapenos, obviously, tomatoes, a whole bed of mint, just tons of mint. Who needs mint?
It'll grow anywhere.
It's insane. I've got...
But it's so good. Fresh mint is so good.
It is. Well, and I've got 3 different kinds. I've got chocolate, grapefruit, and mojito mint. So it's 3 different varietals of mint, too, which is really fun. We've also got... I've got a bunch of small greens, too. I've got Gotu Cola, which is this really cool Asian green that kind of got this, like, lemon peppery flavor. You can use those in salads. I've got Chinese red spinach, which is this beautiful vining spinach. And I'm like, no joking, like there's some leaves on the vine that are the size of my face. They're huge.
Love it. All right, this thing is going to kick us off in 50 seconds.
All right.
Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for giving us a peek behind the scenes. Can't wait until you are all open. So definitely, if you're here from our channel, follow Lacy. Check out what's going on. Thank you for just your general caring, for your willingness to give back and loop in the community. I love all that. It's great to hear from you. It's great to see you.
You too. And thank you so much for having me on. And cheers to you. And I will be sure to tune in for your next interview.
Yeah, we got another one coming up on Thursday. My buddy Adam, who was one of my bar daddies, kind of my bar uncle, I guess. 'Cause
Oh,
I'm mostly raised in New York, and then he was my bar manager when I moved here to Seattle, and he's now out in Michigan. So we're
well
touring the
now
whole
I
country.
I gotta tune in there. I gotta.
Love it. Thank you so
All right.
much.
Thanks so much, Tom. Bye, guys.